Alright, so if you've been wondering what these new unit damage types and affinities are all about, well, I'm gonna go ahead and explain it to you. Just think of it as a Pokemon system with its elements. Alright, there's two primary types of damages in this game currently, although there are secondary types which I'll get into in a bit here, but the primary ones are physical and magical. You can see that by clicking on your unit, going to click on the one that you actually want to see, and then click view. On the right hand side, you'll either see if it's physical or magical. Now, if you look at the special mobs in the legend stages, you'll see what type of weaknesses and resistance they have. Either they're resistant to physical or magical, or weakened to both of them. Now these special mobs have both of those. They're either weakened to one thing and resistant to the other, and vice versa. So if you look at this mob right here, as you can see, he's weakened by magic, but he's resistant to physical. Now you could check what the stage has by clicking on the legend stages and actually seeing what they recommend. So if you go to the recommendation section, you'll see which one you should bring. And this is where the game gets a little bit more tricky, because the higher the number is, the higher it scales off of their attack. So let's use Sukuna and physical resistance as an example. So Sukuna, of course, he does physical damage. So if a unit or an enemy has 150 physical resistance and he does 6k, the Sukuna will get his damage half, or at least that's what I've been seeing. I don't really know how like the number scales off of things, but if it's 150, his damage will get half down to 3000. So you really want to make sure what the unit is weakened to instead of resistant to. Now this is vice versa as well, because if it's 150 physical weakness, you'll probably do a ton more damage with Sukuna. This is also the same with magic. Now what you can do to kind of play around with this is by using three of these units, which is Sukuna, Blackbeard, or Megumin. Because if you already don't know, these are the three units that give weaknesses to those types. Sukuna gives weakness to physical attacks by using dismemberment, while Blackbeard and Megumin uses their magic to basically give units or enemies weakened magic. So you'll see what they're weakened or resistant to on the top of their heads, depending on which one it is. Axe resembles physical, and a blue fireball resembles magic. The shield resembles resistance, while the increased arrow resembles increased damage or weakness. Now that's the primary types of damage. Now let's get into the secondary. The secondary has actually been added onto the updates when Magic came out, or the Magical Kingdom, which was Fairy Tail. That was all about the elements. So if you use a fire unit like a Kainu on them, it'll do ×2 damage or more damage to ice units. Vice versa as well. If they were a fire type, you could use Gray to do more damage since he has an ice secondary element. So this is more so towards the Pokemon style, since it actually uses elements. Now hopefully you learned something about this with the primary and secondary, and good luck in these new legend stages.